Words can't even describe what we saw last Saturday, man. Charles du Bronx Oliveira put on an absolute masterclass. It wasn't just a win, it was one of those performances that remind you why people fell in love with him in the first place. He literally walked Gamrot down, outstruck him, and made it look effortless at times. You gotta remember, Gamrot is a terrible stylistic matchup for Charles on paper. A wrestler with endless cardio and a high pace, that's usually the kind of fighter that gives Olivera trouble. And I'll be real with you, I was nervous going in. I acknowledged the threat. I respected Gamrot's skill set. But Charles showed up like only Charles can. He clocked in for violence and whooped Gamrot's ass. Straight up, it was vintage Du Bronx. Now, the aftermath of the fight is where things got really interesting. Charles grabbed the mic right after and called out Max freaking Holloway. And sure enough, Max responded with a video of his own, and it looks like we might actually be getting Charles versus Max too. This time at lightweight, potentially for the BMF belt. And listen, man, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This fight is wild. And I'm torn because I like both of these guys. I don't want to see either one of them take that kind of damage again. But at the same time, this is such an interesting fight. There's a real sense that someone getting folded here. You know, it's just going to be fireworks and it's going to get me nervous just to watch it. But here's another thing that we got to talk about. The whole BMF belt situation. I'm going to be honest. I'm getting BMF fatigue. I'm over it being this fake belt. When it first started, you know, with the Masvidal and Nate Diaz, it was kind of cool. You know, it was a big gimmick fight. You know, two BMFs. It was something fresh. I thought it was going to be a one-timer thing, you know. And then we got it again for Dustin versus Justin. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll let this slide. But now it's becoming this thing that keeps getting thrown around every few months. Max versus Justin, BMF belt. Then Dustin versus Max again for the same belt. Like, bro, the whole point of the BMF was to feel special, not a regular prop you bring out to spice up the card. And look, man, the whole BMF belt thing, I'm just done with it, okay? I don't care if freaking Jorge Masvidal was the BMF belt, that Justin Gaethje won the BMF belt. I don't care if Max won the BMF belt and he's defending it. It has no meaning, man. What is this? Some WWE stuff? We don't need some fake belt to make fights feel more important. If it's Charles versus Max, then the fight fights itself. That's the main event, no matter what. Just book it. No gimmicks. No BMF nonsense. Just let the fight be the fight. Now, with all that being said about the BMF belt, I'm just going to be honest here, man. This ain't sunshine and, you know, smooth jazz. Charles Oliveira is most likely going to lose this matchup. And trust me, it hurts to even say that because I love Charles Oliveira. I already know I'm going to get attacked by some of these fans, but look, I'm not a hater. I'm a truther. I call it how I see it. I've always respected Charles, but if this rematch with Max Holloway actually happens, I generally think it's going to be worse for him this time around. People love to bring up, oh, he gave up in that fight. You know, that's the narrative from the first fight. And honestly, I don't care to debate that. That was years ago. But guys, both guys have evolved since. But if they fight right now in 2025 with both men, I still see the outcome being the same. And that's Max Holloway winning. Charles is going to struggle. And the reason is simple. Defensively, he's not built for extended boxing exchanges. That's where Max thrives. Charles is dangerous everywhere else. The knees, the elbows, the submissions, the front kicks. You know, just the chaos. But when it comes to the pure hand-to-hand, you know, the boxing, that's Max's world. Like, let's not get it twisted either, okay? Yes, Charles walked Gamrot down and looked incredible doing it. But Gamrot isn't exactly the measuring stick for elite strikers. He's a grinder. He's not a killer. The guy's consistently losing to top-tier players of the division. Dan Hooker, Benil Dariush, now Charles Oliveira, and some of those dudes aren't even a title threat right now. So while the performance was impressive, we can't act like Charles beat a world-class striker in there. Max is a completely different kind of problem. Now, the biggest factor for me is the speed. That's where I think this whole fight flips. We saw that happen when Topuria came in fast, precision, and explosive. Charles couldn't react in time. Max isn't as powerful as Topuria, but his speed and his volume are relentless. His hands never stop moving, and his shot placement is freaking elite, dude. Go back and watch the Justin Gaethje fight. The way he caught him clean in that 5th round. That was the speed of Max Holloway. Even in the Dustin fight, he had Poirier hurt badly in multiple times. And that's against a big, strong lightweight. Now, Max at 155 is different. I'd argue he's better there than he was at 145. He looks stronger, more comfortable, and doesn't have to kill himself to make weight. His durability carried over, his pace carried over, and his striking looks even sharper. That's why I'm saying, stylistically, this is a nightmare for Charles. I hate to say it because I love Bronx, but I can't ignore what my eyes see. Max is just a better boxer. He's cleaner, faster, and more composed under fire. And unless Charles lands something wild or he drags it into like this weird scramble and catches a submission, I don't see him outboxing Max for over 5 rounds. Now, to be fair, it probably wouldn't go 5 rounds. Realistically, it'd probably go like two rounds, I think, before Charles gets knocked out. Now, I know some people are gonna say, "Oh, but Charles can walk him down, bro. The pressure, the grappling, all that." Listen. I get that. I love that version of Charles too, but let's be real. The dude is way too open when he's coming forward. By the time he gets into range and tries to land, Max is already going to tag him. Max doesn't need to have one punch knockout power to hurt Charles either. At 155, he hits clean, he hits sharp, and those shots add up fast. You can only take so many before your body starts saying, "Nah, I'm good." And man, I hate to even say it, but I think Max rocks him early. I really do, dude. And it pains me because I'm a Charles fan throughout, always. But, bro, the sport is just brutal. Nobody's safe in there. You root for a guy, and the next thing you know, he's getting folded. And you're sitting there like, why do I even watch this sport? But that's what makes MMA so addicting, right? You never really get what you want. Still, I just can't shake that feeling that Charles is only going to last maybe a round or two in this one and before things get ugly. Now, I know the counter argument. What if Charles grapples Max, man? And that's fair. That's the only real hope he's got there. Historically, though, Max has really good get-ups. He doesn't let people just hold him down. Sure, we haven't seen him really get tested at 155 against an elite grappler, so that might be a small window there for Charles. But I'm not going to completely shut the door on him because Olivera's jiu-jitsu is world-class. If he somehow manages to get Max down, there's always that chance of, a scramble, a choke, something wild. But here's where it gets tricky. Guys like Chandler or Gamrot make it easy for Charles because they fight like wrestlers. They try to explode up, give up their back, and that's all Charles needs. Once he takes your back, it's elite control time or it's a submission. You're basically done for that round. Max doesn't make those mistakes. He doesn't panic when he gets taken down, and more importantly, he doesn't give up his back. Go back and watch that Volk fight. Even when Volk took him down, Max stayed calm, he framed up, and worked his way back to his feet. Even Topuria dropped Max with a huge takedown, and he couldn't just control him like that. Max's fundamentals on the ground are underrated. That's what scares me. I'm not doubting Charles' skill or heart. I'm doubting the matchup. Stylistically, this feels like a nightmare for him. I just can't picture Charles walking through those combinations clean and surviving the output that Max brings. And as much as it sucks to say, I'm generally worried for Bronx in this one. I think the best thing Charles can do, and honestly, it's his only real shot, is to grab Max and just fucking take the fucker down, and flatten him out and try to get him away from the cage. That's where Charles can actually probably win this fight. That's his world. Once he gets you on the mat, he can just control him, transitions to the neck, throw submissions. It's second nature to him. If he could just put Max flat on his back and force him into those jiu-jitsu scrambles, then yeah, Charles has a legit chance. But I'll play devil's advocate here. Even though Charles is a monster on the ground, it's not that simple. Max has really great fundamentals when it comes to defense and getting back up. He's not one of those guys who panics or gives his back up easily, like I mentioned earlier. And that's the problem, man. Charles usually thrives off fighters who freaks out, like a Gamrot, a Chandler, a Gagey, who try to explode up, give their backs out, and give them opening. Max doesn't make those same mistakes. He stays composed, he frames up, and he uses the fence perfectly to work his way back to his feet. And that's why I still have a hard time seeing Charles really controlling him. Sure, it's possible that he gets him down once or twice, but to keep him down there, I don't know, man. I think Max's footwork, his angles, his movements, all that is going to make it tough for Charles to even grab him in the first place. And while he's trying to close the distance, he's going to get touched. That's the danger. Charles always gets hit in his way in. It's been a pattern since forever, and against someone as sharp and accurate as Max Holloway, in my opinion, that's a nightmare because the thing is, Max may not have one punch knockout power, but at 155, his shots hurt. He's heavier, he's stronger, and he's more confident with those combinations. That rhythm, it's going to add up fast. If Charles can't get him to the ground early, I think Max is going to start, finding that groove, start piecing him up and eventually catch him clean. I hate to say it, but I can honestly see Charles getting stopped. Honestly, man, I don't even know if I want to see this matchup. Like, yeah, a part of me does because, it's a great fight. It's an incredible matchup. But at the same time, I kind of don't want to see it, man. I like them both. Can we just get Max versus Patty? Can we just get Charles versus Patty? I don't want to see this fight, man. My heart won't be able to, process it. But, we're probably going to get it. I'm being biased as hell here. These are my two favorite fighters. I just don't want to see one of them go down. But that's just the reality of the sport, right? It doesn't care about your feelings. You can love both guys, respect both stories, and you still have to sit there and watch one of them get folded. That's the part that sucks about MMA sometimes, man. The heartbreaks come with this shit, man. So I'm excited for it. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you on my next one.